Welcome to Sports Choke News, my big followers. Today we'll be talking about Arsenal and all that concerns Arsenal ahead of their away league match against Leicester City. There is a big question mark upon Arsenal's head. Will Arsenal still win a trophy this season? That is a very big question to ask. Arsenal have added Kai Havertz to their long-term injury list with the Gunner, fearing he could miss the rest of the season with a hamstring injury. The German picked up a worrying blow during the club's mid-season trip to Dubai this week, with Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli set to miss the next month with injury. Also, Bukayo Saka has been out for the last 2 months but could return in March, with Arsenal looking to chase down Premier League leaders Liverpool and resuming their Champions League campaign in March. Can the Gunners still win a trophy this season? Tell me if Arsenal could still win a trophy this season or not. Here's what former Arsenal striker Alan Smith told Sky Sport News after his former side trophy aspiration. He said, "It was going to be hard for Arsenal in this title push. It was an outside chance they could reel in Liverpool. Now it looks near on impossible. For this season, you are wondering with what they have got, how they can make a success of it. The Champions League as well looks really difficult. You can point to the fact that Manchester City won the Premier League once without a centre forward, but they had a little bit more in reserve than Arsenal have got now. It is a key point in the season, maybe a point that just ended hope and optimism. Maybe they have enough to beat Leicester, but the other games coming up, it will be hard. Mathematically, they are not out of the race. Of course, they are not. Anfield in 1989 showed miracles do happen over a long period. It gets harder, of course it does. You can never say never in football. We have seen shocks happening in the past, but Liverpool doesn't look like slipping up today. No, I don't think so. Even despite going out of the cup, and you look at the striker options they have got, they are the envy of so many clubs in Europe with so many options. But Arsenal have just got to keep going. If they can get a win at the weekend, it then step by step for the Gunners. The free agent striker Arsenal could still sign. Now we are going to look at some transfer news regarding Arsenal, because Arsenal couldn't sign a striker in the winter transfer window. Arsenal feared striker Kai Havertz could miss the rest of the season with a hamstring injury. Havertz had been due to lead Arsenal line for the remainder of the campaign, with Arteta even admitting it was possible for the German international could be forced to play every game. Gabriel Jesus is out for the season after he suffered an injury last month. Bukayo Saka has been absent since December, but it is hoped the England international, who traveled with his teammates to the Middle East, could return next month. Also, Gabriel Martinelli also faces a spell on the sidelines after he was forced off injured in Arsenal Carabao Cup second leg semi-final defeat at Newcastle last week. It leaves the Gunners with only Leandro Trossard, Raheem Sterling and Ethan Nwaneri as the club's recognized forward players. Arsenal failed in their bid to sign Oli Watkins from Aston Villa last month, but there is still a way Mikel Arteta could bolster his forward line. The Gunners could score the market for a free agent, but who is available? Here are the options if Arsenal were looking to sign a free agent. Former Real Madrid striker Mariano Diaz is an option, with the 31-year-old without a club since leaving Sevilla in the summer. Could a couple of familiar faces return to the Emirates? Former Gunners Carlos Vela and Lucas Perez are without club at the moment. Yeah, Arsenal could call for them if they really need a striker. So often a thorn in the side of Arsenal when he was at Chelsea, Diego Costa. He is a free agent after leaving Brazilian side Grêmio in December. What a story that would be if the 36-year-old returned to English football with the Gunners. Uruguay striker Maxi Gomez, former Monaco forward Wissam Ben Yedder, and former Rangers striker Kema Rofi would all also be available for moves to help ease Arsenal injury crisis. And also, what does Mikel Arteta do in attack now? Okay, if Arsenal couldn't sign any striker, any free agent striker, so what will Mikel Arteta do? Kai Havertz's injury has deepened Arsenal injury crisis. What is avoidable? What does it say about their January transfer window? And what are Arteta's options now? The absence of Jesus had left Havertz as Arsenal's only option in the striker position, with Arteta admitting last week that the 25-year-old may have to start every game between now and the end of the campaign, but he had already shouldered a huge workload. Only William Saliba and Gabriel has played more minutes than Havertz of Arsenal's outfit players this season. Havertz is already up to 34 appearances in all competition, having made 51 last term. On top of that, the role of number 9 under Arteta is uniquely demanding physicality. Premier League tracking data for this season shows it. Jesus and Havertz rank 1st and 5th respectively among strikers for distance covered per 90 minutes. It is worth nothing Dominic Solanke, who gets through a similar amount of running for their North London rivals Tottenham, has also been sidelined by an ankle injury. Of course, injuries are not solely down to load. Luck plays a part too, but in Havertz's case in particular, it should come as no great surprise that he has fallen victim. Arteta described him as a genetic powerhouse last week, but every player has his limit, and Havertz looked close to his in Arsenal recent games. He produced an epic shift even by his standards in the 1-0 win over Wolves in which Arsenal played almost an hour with 10 men. He then played 89 minutes of the 5-1 victory over City and completed the 90 away to Newcastle despite the tie being ahead for the most of the second half. Arteta's hand was forced, at least to some extent, by a lack of available alternatives, but it is reasonable to wonder if more could have been done to protect a player who has covered more ground than anyone else at Arsenal this season and also ranked top for the pressures and attacking runs. A warm weather breaks intended for much needed rest and evidently came too late for him. And now the big question mark: who could fill in at number 9 for Arsenal? Who could fill in at number 9 at the Emirates? Arteta mentioned all three of Trossard, Sterling and Nwaneri as first 9 options last week. The former looks the favorite for the job, having played 723 Premier League minutes in position for Arsenal, roughly a quarter of his total since his arrival 2 years ago. Whether he could provide the required goal threat is another question. Havertz's finishing has frustrated at times, but he is Arsenal's top scorer with 9 goals in the Premier League. His total of 15 in all competitions had put him on track for the highest scoring season of his career. Trossard, by contrast, has only found the net 5 times in total this season and has scored once in the 2-1 win over Tottenham in January. In his last 18 appearances in all competitions, Sterling's form is even less convincing. The Chelsea loanee has shown signs of improvement out of possession in recent games. His total of 5 tackles against Spurs was his second highest in the Premier League game, but he has only scored once all season in the Carabao Cup against Bolton. His lack of confidence in front of goals was summed up by his missed penalty in the Champions League win over Girona. Then there is Nwaneri. Moving a player of only 17 into such an unfamiliar role would be a huge ask for Arteta, but the academy product certainly looks Arsenal's biggest goal threat right now. With 7 goals in only 700 minutes this season, his average of 0.90 per 90 minutes is the highest of all Premier League players in all competition. He also ranks top among Arsenal players for shots on target per 90 minutes, as well as shooting accuracy rate and shot conversion. Given the danger he possesses when cutting in from the right hand side and aiming shots towards the far corner, as he did successfully in the recent games against Girona and Manchester City, Arteta may feel he is better off keeping him in the natural position. An alternative option for Mikel Arteta would be to go off piste and repropose on his midfielders. Could Mikel Merino be worth trailing in the position? That's another big question mark. It would be a tough task for the Spain international, who is still finding his feet in English football, but he does at least have the physical quality and area strength to serve as an athlete in a similar style to Kai Havertz. Regardless of what Arteta does in the number 9 position, he is going to need to get creative in the wide positions too. Trossard, Sterling and Nwaneri could be expected to play every minute. Others, such as Lewis Kelly or even Kieran Tierney, might have to be used further forward. Arteta has of course already promoted the club's best academy players in Nwaneri and Lewis Kelly, but others of the first team, such as wingers Nathan Bota Oyedeji and Ismail Kabia, might now need to be called on too. Injury crisis adds to January's question. Injury crisis adds to January questions. What is certain is that there is no perfect solution. Arsenal are already 7 points behind Premier League leaders Liverpool. They cannot afford any further slip up. Arsenal are already 7 points behind Premier League leaders Liverpool. They cannot afford any further slip up regardless of the result in that game. But the reality is sight might have to be lowered. Arsenal title chances had already been heavily impacted by the injury to Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, and while the latter two are due to return in the weeks and months ahead, the addition of Havertz to the long-term absentee list is the heaviest blow yet. All of it serves to intensify the scrutiny of Arsenal.